Welcome back. You're still watching VIP Access with me, Des So. The production of Inception circled the globe, taking place in 6 countries on 4 separate continents. During the course of filming, the cast and crew experienced a number of extremes, braving the heat in Tangiers in Morocco and traversing the snows of Calgary, Canada. Shooting also took place in Tokyo, Paris, England, and Los Angeles, where director Christopher Nolan wanted to push the boundaries of what could be achieved practically as opposed to using computer effects.
There's one thing you should know about me. I can access your mind through your dreams. It's called Inception.
What I constantly found was that as soon as you're entering into the idea of what can the human mind conceive of, you want to see this on a grand scale. On The Dark Knight, we'd shot in 3 different countries. For Inception, we shot in 6 countries.
We're able to get material in Morocco. We're shooting in Tokyo, London, and Los Angeles. We're shooting in Calgary.
The whole process of Canada was very exciting. Fortress Mountain was certainly the biggest set. Chris wanted to see these absolutely beautiful backdrops of mountains that could not be achieved digitally.
About a week before we went to Canada, there was no snow. The whole thing was built around snow, and so we were very, very tense. About 2 or 3 days before we all flew up there, we had an enormous dump of snow. From that moment on, it just didn't stop.
It was unbelievably cold, and we were out there shooting in blizzards and so forth. But what that adds to a scene is incalculable, really. Just being out there in the real conditions, the real environment. It was very important to me that we do as much as possible in camera. Some of our more exotic effects, we tried to find real-world solutions.
Today, a lot of movies use CGI, but Chris wants to keep it as real as possible.
Ready, and action!
We felt real reaction on the set.
Killian and I had to do an entire sequence where the entire set would be shifting. We had to hold on to the actual set so it didn't slide off.
It tilted to 25 degrees. Chris didn't want anything to move. All he wanted was to see these weird things happening.
It's very, very, very subtle, but like in dreams, things are just a little bit off.
There's this amazing sequence where gravity has gone haywire.
Well, me and Gravity went head-to-head a lot in this movie. Whether we were being soaked by a massive water tank blasting around us, or whether the streets of Paris were disintegrating before our very eyes. What was amazing to witness was how they made it all seem like it was a day's work.
I like to think there's a little something for everybody in there. Certainly for me, my ambition was to create a grand-scale Hollywood entertainment.
We'll get back to our main event in just a little bit, but right now, it's time to dish out some exclusives in The Scoop. We continue our look at the 2010 Cannes Film Festival, where our international correspondent Stevie Wong sat down to have a chat with the cast of Heartbeats.
Kind of happened a bit last year at Directors Fortnight, but this time it's, you know, it's another vibe. It's obviously, and with their love drifting apart over the years. I wanted it to be different moments, different steps of the process of falling in love with someone. And I thought that having different songs would help putting some emphasis on this, you know, on the variety and the difference of these different moments. I'm gonna make movies in English, sure, one day. And what's next for me is a movie called Lawrence Anyways, is a love story between a transsexual, a transgender, and his fiancée.
Heartbreaker, that's you.
Japanese director Hideo Nakata, famed for his Ring cycle of horror films, presented his first feature film Chat Room, which had been adapted from his first theater play.
I think the great thing about Chat Room is it promotes teenagers in a great way, in the sense they're really more than one-dimensional characters, you know. They're multifaceted in many ways. And we were actually given the opportunity with the roles to essentially play two characters, because there's the online and the offline world.
Jim was always the one I wanted. Like, the moment I read it, I knew it was the part for me, and I felt very close to it, and I really wanted to do that part. So I think we all immediately knew which character we wanted to play.
I know we could be happy if they only respected themselves for what they are. So I want to wake us all up. And I want their love. I really do.
Something quite exciting about working with someone who isn't from the same background as you, because you learn different things and they see the world in a slightly different way. And even the language barriers can sometimes be interesting, because you can't communicate in the most immediate way, and it means you have to find other ways, and you develop a different kind of connection that's not necessarily just about the words.
So for the purpose of bringing you closer together, do you think you could do some random violence on your parents?
I could try some random violence.
Fantastic.
Of course, I wouldn't know where to start. Oh, well, myself and William can brainstorm some ideas with you. Just small, petty things to begin with. Right, William?
Premeditated murder, I disapprove of. But random violence I could do.
Good boy. Oh, this is great.
And we were dealing with an international subject, the internet, so we had a French director of photography, Japanese director, British cast. You know, it's kind of representative of the world we were trying to show, in that you have all these different people sort of come together on one.
Rooted deep in a legend from the Ramayana epic, acclaimed Indian director Mani Ratnam brought Raavan to Cannes. A hugely expensive production that took 2 years to complete, Raavan is actually 2 films shot simultaneously.
And we've got it in 2 different versions. The Hindi version is going to be so different. People who watched the Hindi version will find the Tamil so different from that. And people who watch both these films will find it so different from any Indian film they've ever seen.
Whenever people speak about my work, the last 2 films I've done with Mani are always spoken about, and I don't think there's going to be anything different with Raavan. He's always given me a lot of work that's been challenging and has gone on to become very special, and you know, has proved to be a milestone in my career.
Working with Mani Ratnam is always different. It's unique, always very demanding creatively.
And if Mani Ratnam comes knocking on your door, you say yes.
इसकी जिंदगी बाकी अभी 14 घंटे बाद मरेगी.
When you see the backdrop, it will be so Indian, and I think an audience in Cannes or wherever in the world, people who love world cinema, will find that very intriguing.
The most wonderful thing is how you switch from being a professional actor to a husband and wife. When you're in front of the camera, you have to leave behind your personal relationships and be true to your work and to your character.
I always enjoyed working with him, even prior to our marriage, because I find him a very honest actor. As a person who's not consumed by the trimming of being a star, it's more about the craft, it's more about creating the moment.
What's wonderful is that I think we've worked out this equation that, you know, when you're working, you're on set, you're working, that's my colleague, and the minute Mani would say cut, that's your wife.
When you see the film, you will see that chemistry, and the hard work that we put in will be there.
Indian cinema is getting so much attention of late. It's not because we're making cinema which is acceptable to a global audience. It's because we're being who we are, and that's what people are liking. The world is just opening up to Indian cinema. I don't think the Indian cinema is opening up to the world.
For more of those interviews, be sure to log onto our YouTube page at youtube.com/StarVIPAccess. I'm going to take a quick time out, but stay tuned because coming up after the break, we'll have an exclusive interview with the all-star cast of Inception. I'll see you in a bit.